Yeah, so now we want to talk about this print command actually. Okay, this function. I want to talk about this. I want to cover the two parameters in detail as I said last time. So we have two parameters which I want to discuss, which is one is the end and the another one is separator, right? About separator, as you know, we have already discussed a few things. So let us take a deep dive now and let's see this separator and end parameter as a whole and in detail. So let's say I go and write here. I create here two variables. Okay. So let's say I create here variable one called fruit, which is a string variable, and another one is, let's say, the quantity, which is integer. Okay, now you all know that. Let me start from the very beginning. If I, for example, write here fruit and then comma and let's say the quantity. Okay, if we go and run this is 1.6, please remember this. So when I run this, we are going to see orange and the quantity, right? We should see that. Look at this here, right? Now, as I said that there is always a space between two variables whenever you write them in the print command, because by default separator is always as a space. Okay, separator variable is, we should know that separator, sorry, not a variable but parameter, by default is a space. Okay, and that's why you see here that there is always a space between two variables, right? Now we have seen that if we want to go and change that the separator, we can simply go and write here hyphen comma or whatever, and this will actually remove the space, the by default the value, and instead it will put the comma like this. Is it clear? Right, now the thing is that, so let's say we have here orange, we have here 5. Okay, and let's say there's another one, and let's say that the vendor. Okay, and the vendor is, let's say, sigma. This is what I am going to now use. So the point is that what happens, guys, if I want to write here a line, for example, my uh, our product is an orange. Okay, and here let's say I go and write manufactured, or actually I should write here that exported by sigma, right? And let's say this is a quantity. Now my point is that if you want to print, if you say that I want to print fruit, okay, and then you say that vendor, for example, right, and let's say quantity, what is going to happen if you run this, all these statements, you will see that there are three different lines, right? The first line is our product is an orange exported by sigma, and let's say 5, right? So this is what you will see. Now what if that I want to, let's say that whenever there is a end of the line, whenever there is an end of the line, I should maybe see, let's say, hash symbol. Our product is an orange, hash exported by sigma, hash 5, for example. This is what you want to do, right? So there we can use actually an AND operator. Okay, let me show you. See, when you write here fruit, so we don't need the separator right now. So I can just go and say end parameter equals to, okay, end parameter equals to. So here, if I, for example, write here hash, if I write here hash like this, and now if I run this, let's see that what is going to happen. Let's run this. Okay, look at this. Our product is an orange and then hash exported by sigma. You got the point? Now you must be wondering that how come exported by sigma is now aligned with our product is an orange in the same line? Because, pay attention here, because end parameter by default is the new line. This is the one. This is the one. Okay, let me run this now. Let me run this. Look at this now. Hash n you write when you want to insert a new line, but by default end parameter which we if we do not use, and we are kind of using three different print statements, by default end parameter accepts the hash n. Hash n means new line. So even if you don't write it, you will not find any challenge, because by default every new print line will be on the new line, will be a new line actually, what I mean to say, right? But if you put the end operator as something else, like as I said, that hash, for example, like this, and now I put here also hash. Now what will happen, because you're not saying that you have to be on the new line, so which is why you will see all the print statements, they will end up making a single line. Make sense? Now these things are important because you never know when you have to use these lines in this way. See this, our product is an orange, and then hash exported by sigma. Or you could also have used, for example, I can use this, not the hash, but maybe I want to make this line readable, so I can do this way. Let's go and run this. Can you see that everything is in a single line? So many times if you want that the output of your program should be a single line, when you're writing the print statement, you won't be able to do it if you don't know the end operator, because end operator by default accepts the, as I said, by default it is actually a hash n. Okay, so let me just write it for you. By default end parameter, not operator, I beg your pardon, by default is a new line, which is actually hash n. Okay, so we must understand these things. Okay, now let's say that, so let me just comment this, and comment this. Okay, now let's pick the fruit, for example. Okay, now let's say that I want to write our product on the first line and is an orange in the next line. Interesting situation I'm giving you, right? How will you do it, right? Because if you simply go and write fruit, what will happen, guys? You will get the our product is an orange, but we want our product as a first line and then is an orange in the next line. So how I can do this? This is the important thing. So let's say that I'm giving one exercise. What you want to print here is that you want to say that our product is an orange, and you should write here in India. Our product is an orange in India, right? So in India is not available here. So we want to print a statement which should say our product is an orange in India, then the comma, right? So basically, let me write it here. So this is the answer I want to, write here. So go and give it a try. So I want to say that our product is an orange by sigma in USA. For example, this is what I want to write. And then at the, and yes, I want to put here the comma, and it is comma like this. This is what I actually want. Okay, and the last thing is that one more comma over here. This is the output. So let's quickly go and start this. So I'm going to write a fruit. On the first parameter, the variable will come, and then the second parameter will have in India, and I will keep a space here, right? And then we will have and it is, and then comma, and then the vendor, which is a variable which says exported by sigma, correct? And then you will use space in USA, right? And yes, the last thing is that because all these are different parameters, and if you remember that if I have to, by default this will all have a space as a separator, but since the question demands the separator has to be comma, so we'll go and write here the comma like this. Okay, so every parameter now will be separated by a comma. This is what it does, isn't it? So if I just try to run this, our product is an orange in India and it is exported by sigma and USA. Look at this, perfectly fine, right? Now what about the at the rate of 5, right? So again we will continue with this. So I keep the separator here, and now the next the line which we need is that it should be at the rate. Okay, so we say at the rate of, and then the last one parameter should be the quantity, correct? And then comma. So this is how we are expecting that now we should have the answer, right? Our product is an orange in India, it is exported by sigma in USA at the rate of 5, right? This is what we need actually. Now here what you have to do now is the important thing is that we have to go and put this line at the rate of 5. We have to put this line in the next line actually. So how you're going to do this now? This is a task for us. So now you see that since we are dealing with a single line, there is a single print statement. I have not written any other print statement here, right? So for me, using the end parameter, this will not help because end means that at the end of the line. If I have to break this line, if I can, then I can break the print statement up till here, and then another print statement we can go and write, and then we can say that end has to be hash n. For example, what I'm saying, see, this is our line, right? We will do both ways. First, the longest method is that till the time you have this, you cut this from here and you keep this as it is. Okay, so here we have a separator, and here I say your end has to be hash n. Okay, I know you don't have to write the hash n, but still I'm just writing it. Okay, I'm just writing it so that you remember basically how the things are working. And the next line is that the same line where I said at the rate of quantity. Okay, at the rate of quantity. This is what now this basically should write the first statement, and then the next the print statement should be in the next line. Easy, right? Because hash n means that there will be the another print statement will be on the new line. So if I try to run this, let's see that, right? Our product is in orange in India and it is exported by Sigma. Okay, I'm sorry, I think I've used actually what I did is that let me use this slash. Let's go and run this again. Okay, where is the double quote? Yeah, so let's run this again. Fine, cool. So you see that we have got the answer, right? And this is what we actually needed it. So my point is that even if you don't write the end equals to hash n, because this is a next print statement, so at the rate of 5 will always be on the second line, right? So there's no point of for us to write it, but I was just explaining you. Now the point is that because since we are learning this, the print command in detail, so I want to actually tell you that if you have to do this in a single line like this single line, then how can you do that, right? You see, after USA, right? After USA, we want to actually insert a new line, right? So what we can do is we can come here at the rate of 5 because this is the line, right? And we can say that, I want you to have this hash n. Okay, I want you to have this hash n. So I'm not going to use the AND parameter. Okay, I mean, this is also one of the way we can do it. Can we cross check the things? Let me just go and run this. Look at this now. Perfectly fine. Okay, so we can insert the hash in anywhere. Like for example, if I go and write, let's say, if I write here within these double quotes, see, within these double quotes, if I just go and write here hash in, what is going to happen that in India, then there will be a and it is exported by Sigma. This will be a new line because you have written here hash n. Look at this now. So I want you to really be perfect in this. And since this is a new line, so we should not, I mean, I can remove the space from here so that they appear in the without any indentation. So let me just run this. Okay, so let's have a look here. Look at this. Our product is an orange in India and it is expected by Sigma in USA, right? Obviously you have to remove the space from here also, so at also follows the same the position, right? So I'm trying to actually cover very small points. You may find them boring, but honestly speaking, I always crave for such small points, right? Because they make you very strong. So the point is that when you learn the print statement in this way, so in future if you have to produce any type of output, you can do that. You can customize it the way you want. Okay, this is how it is. And yes, in my answer, I should have put the comma here. Anyways, guys, this is just a hypothetical example. You don't have to be serious with this, right? So the point is very simple. We should know that how the end parameter works, and how the separator parameter works and how you can club them. And especially the hash n is very uh, good thing for us. And please remember one thing before we end up this session. Hash n is, you can write this hash n like I can write this hash n here also. Okay, now let me show you. If I run this, see that, see the output. After the end, there's another line. You can write it. There's no problem in that. Okay, but you cannot go and write, for example, if I try to write hash n over here, is this going to make any sense? Is this going to make any sense? It is not going to make any sense. Okay, you have to write this within the string, within the double quote. See this unexpected parameter. You may go and try to write this as well. For example, you put this in the double quote like this, right? See this. If you try to run this code now, then what will happen? The hash n is, which is a symbol of the new line. See this? The product is an orange, right, in India, and it is exported. So we can write this line other than the commas, other than the within the double quotes also. Okay. So, but you have to make sure that when you are writing this and when you're going to read this, it should make a sense also. I mean, without the commas, you cannot write it. You have to insert it as a sort of, you can say, parameter, right? And yes, if I try to put this in this way, I mean, I don't want to actually write the double quotes, for example, I run this, you see, you will get the error. Okay. So see, it's the thing is that if hash n is seen by the print statement within the commas, immediately after this in India, it will insert the new line. Okay, but as I said that instead of doing this, I prefer that, we can simply go and write it the hash and here also. It does not make any difference because then this will also be, starting with the new line because you said that before and there's a hash in. And since here everything is in the double quote, you see that this is all the double quotes, correct? So you don't have to insert again one more double quote. Now, what happens if you put here, let's say for example, double quote, maybe this way you have put the double quotes, right? So if you run this, let's go here, look at this, you'll get the error. Okay, you can't write in this way. Fine, I hope this is clear. And one more thing, since you have seen that I told you in the beginning chapters that in Python, people also use, instead of the double quotes, people also use the single quote. Okay, like this. Now, is this going to be acceptable here? Because this is, after all, we discussed that point in the variables, not in the print statement, right? Look at this. It is perfectly fine. You see the output here, correct? So you can write it. So fine then, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and let's meet in the new lecture now.